MBAI.
Top 5 Most Devastating Floods in History. Number 5. Pakistan Flood 2010, a comprehensive environmental disaster in the summer of 2010, heavy monsoon rain struck Pakistan. They caused one of the worst floods in the country's modern history. More than 20 million people were directly or indirectly affected. Nearly one-fifth of the country's land was submerged. Thousands of homes collapsed, roads and infrastructure were destroyed. At least 2,000 people were killed during the disaster. Vast agricultural areas were completely ruined. Contaminated water led to widespread disease outbreaks. Economic losses were estimated at over $43 billion. The UN Secretary-General called it the worst humanitarian disaster. Number 4. Yangtze River Flood 1998, the wrath of the Chinese dragon. The flood struck the Yangtze River and its tributaries with force. China recorded its highest water levels in a century. Over 4,000 people lost their lives in the flood. Thousands of villages were destroyed and 15 million were displaced. Huge agricultural lands were submerged, halting production. Economic losses exceeded $26 billion. Military forces assisted in evacuation and rescue operations. The disaster led to a review of dam safety systems. It accelerated the construction of the Three Gorges Dam. It was a major wake-up call for China's environmental awareness. Number 3. Bangladesh Flood 1998, drowning in the heart of the Ganges Delta. Floodwaters covered more than 70% of Bangladesh. The disaster lasted for nearly 2 months non-stop. About 1,000 people died due to drowning and diseases. Over 30 million people were affected across the country. Thousands of homes collapsed and daily life came to a halt. Schools, hospitals, and roads were submerged underwater. Rice crops and food reserves were widely destroyed. Malnutrition and infectious diseases increased dramatically. The flood was worsened by glacial melt and unprecedented rain. It was one of the worst floods in South Asian history. Number 2. Yellow River Flood 1887, the deadly Yellow Deluge. The Yellow River, Huanghe, flooded central China in 1887. Ancient levees collapsed under the rising pressure of water. Over 50,000 square miles of land were submerged. Around 900,000 people died from drowning or starvation. Entire towns and villages were wiped out in moments. No disaster response or early warning systems existed. Disease and epidemics followed in the aftermath. Millions of farmers were displaced from their homes. It was recorded as one of the deadliest floods in history. It earned the name Yellow Deluge due to the muddy water. Number 1. Yangtze River Flood 1931, the greatest flood in human history. In the summer of 1931, China faced a series of massive floods. The Yangtze River burst its banks in catastrophic fashion. Over 180,000 square kilometers were submerged. Estimated death toll ranged from 2 to 4 million people. Dams collapsed, and farmlands were entirely destroyed. First came drought, then floods, leading to massive famines. The flood was followed by plague and dysentery outbreaks. Millions were forced to live in inhumane conditions. It remains the deadliest natural flood disaster ever recorded. It is still studied today as the worst flood in human history.
MBAI.